Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Do please like and subscribe, and don't forget, my books are on there on Amazon. There's a link down below. Right. Oh, by the way, I'm going to ring the song dinger. When I ring this at the end, that's a warning for all you sensitive souls to escape. I'm going to talk today about haunted inmates. Inmates that are, in my opinion, possessed. Now, I know that this is not something that a lot of people accept. I can understand that. But listen, I've people that I've worked with over the years, eminently intelligent individuals like Colin Wilson. Now, Colin Wilson was a friend of mine. He wrote an international best-selling book titled The Outsider, which was published in 1956, I believe. It was a massive bestseller, a philosophical work about alienation. He also wrote a book that I highly recommend anybody who is interested in the matter of the supernatural to read, and it's available on Amazon. It's called Beyond the Occult by Colin Wilson. I've got a signed copy here. Now, Colin Wilson investigated numerous poltergeist hauntings, and he was really seriously interested in the subject. And not only was he interested in it, he was an eminently erudite individual who was a professor of English literature and worked alongside Abraham Maslow, the psychologist in America, at a university in America. And I sat for many hours with Colin Wilson discussing this subject, and he himself had experienced numerous paranormal phenomena. Don't just take my word for it. Have a look online. Google Colin Wilson. He was born in Leicester, and he ended up living in a place called Goren Haven, which is in Cornwall. He had a big mansion-style house overlooking the sea there. Everybody went to see Colin Wilson. The Beatles went to see him. John Betjeman, the poet, went to see him. Numerous famous individuals all ended up at the door of Colin Wilson because he was an extremely interesting and brilliant, a brilliant mind. I wrote I did some research with him for one of his books. You can see my name inside it. Don't believe me? Go and have a look. Yeah. It's called The Angry Years. Yeah. I did some research for Colin Wilson, and he published that book. So I'm going to talk today about inmates that are possessed. Now, you've heard people saying, you will have heard this, people saying, the voices tell me to do it. Well, I was the officer in charge of the psychiatric ward at Strangeways for about 18 months, actually. And numerous inmates would, as I was the officer in charge, report to me and saying, they're telling me I've got to do it. I can hear the voice, And they were on medication, you know. These were people who were on medication. One young man came to me, said, I can hear the voice. I said, listen, you've had your medication, sit down here at my desk with me and we'll talk through it and see what we can get. We got into about 2 or 3 minutes of it. He jumped up, ran straight at this plate glass window, smashed his hands through the plate glass window and ripped both his arms, so a big jagged cut. There were blood spurting everywhere. What a damn mess. I had to bandage him up, stop the bleeding and get him out of there quick. Took him down, put him in a padded cell, and I believe that they got him out to hospital and gave him a blood transfusion. But he was hearing voices. Now, it may be that psychologists are saying, and psychiatrists, eminent psychiatrists, are saying, this is all nonsense, it's just a psychotic incident in their mind. But not to the people that are suffering it. they are actually experiencing the hearing of voices. I worked for a long time with a psychic called James Byrne. Now, James Byrne, I know you say, oh, Derek Acorah was a fake. Yes, he was a fake. He wasn't a fake at the beginning, but he was a fake at the end because he had to do what the TV companies wanted him to do, and that was make a big brouhaha about all the nonsense and really play act and pretend that he was being possessed, which was a damn insult to spiritualism and the actual facts. But numerous people do become possessed. You've only got to look at. Have you seen the film The Devils? Produced by, directed, in this country, and it starred Oliver Reed. Yeah, that's about a mass possession that took place in Loudun in France. It's based on a book called The Devils of Loudun. And they actually did believe, quite sincerely believe, and don't just say, oh, these were primitive people, because, believe me, people through the ages have had a similar kind of intelligence to us. They just have different sets of beliefs. But you see the film The Devils. It's directed by a man called Ken Russell. Now, I actually know Ken Russell's wife, Hetty Baines. I've done shows for Hetty Baines in London on the Strand when I was the guest psychic. I work as a psychic, but I'm not pushing this because, believe me, people, if they're interested, you'll find out. But, of course, this is about the jails, and in the jails there are numerous inmates who have said to me, when I was a hospital officer, they said to me, I am hearing the voices, people complaining there were visitations in their cells. One inmate on, I think it was I2 landing, which was at the time, all that area was the postal allocation unit in Strangeways, and K-Wing was the YP unit. Well, he was in the I2 landing on the postal allocation unit, and one lunchtime, it usually happens to me on a lunchtime, bang, 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 banging on his cell. I went up, and as I was going up, I could see this, like a shadow, coming out of the cell, like a dark shadow. Very strange, really. So I opened him up and said, what's the matter? He said, there's been a woman, she's sat on my bed. I said, go on then, describe her. And he said she was about, 5 foot tall, 5'2", very short, very brown, very plump, yeah. And I said, and did she hurt you? No, he said, but she stood there staring at me as if it was her cell, and what was I doing in there? He said, you've got to get me out of here, you've got to get me out. So I did what I could to calm him down, made sure he was okay. And I went to see the principal officer in charge of the postal allocation unit. And I said, a very strange thing, he's claiming that he's seen this woman in his cell. He said, which one was it? So I told him which one it was, yeah. I2 landing, which cell. He said, that's Louisa Merrifield. She was the Blackpool poisoner. And she haunted that area because that was the cell she was held in before she was executed. She'd poisoned an old lady that she was supposedly caring for so that she could inherit her bungalow, which is still standing, by the way. One of the comments on here said that the guy had been to actually have a look at it. It's in Blackpool, I think Devonshire Road, I believe. So, yeah, there are definitely entities out there. Inmates who are claiming that they're hearing voices may very well be hearing voices. But as I was saying, when I was working with James Byrne, numerous occasions we went into houses and not only could he hear the voices, but I could hear the voices shouting. we did a programme for the BBC one Halloween in Leeds, a big haunted house supposedly in just outside Leeds, and the BBC sent a production team with us, not a film, it was BBC Radio Leeds, and they're recording all this and broadcasting live all across BBC Radio Leeds. People around might remember this. It was about 1993, I believe. Anyway, we were doing this, and I could hear this voice shouting, and James Byrne says, "There's a man standing next to you," and he's pointing at this BBC engineer, and he says he's telling me that no matter what you think you're doing, you will not record what's happening here today. Then there were banging and clatterings and stamping of feet, and the BBC engineer, the senior engineer, was in charge of all this. He said to me, because I was managing James Byrne at the time, he said, "Are you daft or what?" He said, "This is the BBC." He said, "We know what we're doing." He said, "Look, you can see it's on the screen here." He had the monitors that showed that it was being recorded. He said, "We're definitely recording this." He said, "And it's going out this evening. This is a broadcast now, but we're doing a special this evening on this for Halloween." So anyway, we got to the end of the investigation, and James identified this man, and I could hear the shouting and the banging, but the engineers couldn't. The engineers couldn't hear a damn thing. The monitor was showing that the monitors could hear it. Anyway, we got to the end of it. It lasted about an hour. We got to the end of it, and they were packing up the gear, and James said, "How about a test to see if you've got it?" He said, "Because I'm being told that you definitely haven't," and they were laughing at this. Oh, yeah. So he said, "Go on then." So they played it back. Absolutely blank. All their recording equipment had recorded not even our voices, nothing. And it had shown on the monitor that it was recording, and this was a proper professional recording team from the BBC. There is more in this world than is dreamt of in our philosophy. And it's that time of day, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, do tell me. I'll do more. Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton, and this is the song dinger. You've just heard it. There you are, you can see it again. It strikes fear into the hearts of Larry and the light. I'm going to sing a song now. It's not singing, let's be perfectly honest. I'm not really taking the piss. I am doing my best, but it is pretty bad, isn't it? This is a song by the Dubliners, and Larry wanted me to do 7 Drunken Nights. Well, I'll do one of them tonight because I've got a bottle of Jack Daniels. I'm going to have a go at it. Yeah. So, this is a song. I may sing it tomorrow. This is a song by the Dubliners. It's called Fiddler's Green. Fiddler's Green is like a heaven. Spiritualists call the heaven that they go to the summer land. Yeah. But sailors call it Fiddler's Green. And this is the song. I'll do my best. As I walked by the dockside one evening so fair, to view the salt waters and take in the salt air, I heard an old fisherman singing a song. Oh, take me away, boys, me time is not long. Wrap me up in me oilskin and lumber. No more on the docks I'll be seen. Just tell me, old shipmates, I'm taking a trip, mates, and I'll see you someday on Fiddler's Green. Now, Fiddler's Green is a place I've heard tell, where the fishermen go if they don't go to hell, where the weather's all clear and the dolphins do play, and the cold coast of Greenland is far, far away. Now when you're in the dock and the long trip is through. There's pubs and there's clubs and there's lasses there too. And the girls are all pretty and the beer is all free. And there's bottles of rum growing on every tree. Where the skies are all clear and there's never a gale. And the fish jump on board with one swish of their tail. Where you lie at their leisure, there's no work to do. And the skipper's below making tea for the crew. Now I don't want a harp nor a halo, not me. Just give me a breeze and a good rolling sea. I'll play me old squeeze box as we sail along, with the wind in the rigging, so sing me a song. Wrap me up in me oilskin and lumber. No more on the docks I'll be seen. Just tell me old shipmates I'm taking a trip, mates. And I'll see you someday on Fiddler's Green. Yeah. Tales from the Jails. This is John G. Sutton, by the way. Do like and subscribe. Comments.